All right, moving on to the last and final segment of today's show. It is time for our Week 16 NFL picks. And Andrew, it's crazy. I remember I had you on this show in the preseason. We were going over our predictions, and now the season is just about over. So it is time to discuss our Week 16 NFL picks. We will have a game on Christmas Day for the first time in, I don't even know. I feel like we've never really seen an NFL game on Christmas. But we will have the Minnesota Vikings taking on the New Orleans Saints. Andrew, I got to be honest. We have spoken a little bit about the Saints on today's show and how we are a little bit concerned about them going into the playoffs. But man, I think that concern will reach a new level if they lose at home to the Minnesota Vikings. And I understand the Vikings have talent, so they do have the ability to come out to play any week. But at the same time, their defense was hideous against the Bears. And I don't necessarily know if I trust Kirk Cousins going on the road into New Orleans getting a win. I know he was able to do it in the playoffs last year. I'm just not sure if he could do it again. I like the Saints.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Saints as well. I think it's going to be a competitive game. I think that the Vikings do have a chance to run the ball really well against the Saints and capitalize on play action. And they have really two good receivers in Adam Thielen and their first-round pick, Jefferson. And I think those guys are going to be a dynamic duo for years to come. But I think that the Vikings just aren't going to be able to stop Drew Brees, who has been explosive.
I want to see him be good, man, because right now, I got to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure that the same team could even win a playoff game, let alone a Super Bowl with him as their quarterback. He didn't look healthy last week.
Yeah, he didn't, and I think they should slot in Taysom Hill because they need this guy to – I think they're going to need Drew Brees at 100% to win and get to where they want to be. So, I still think Taysom Hill is a good quarterback, and he can still run the ball and be versatile. And still beat the Vikings, so that's what I'm taking.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to the next game, on Saturday we will have a triple header. The first game will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading to Detroit to take on the Lions. Dude, it's crazy. I don't know if you've been following the story. The Lions, all of their coaching staff is going to be out because of COVID contact tracing, and their head coach that's going to be calling plays on Saturday is going to be a guy from Long Island, New York, J.F. Kennedy High School graduate and SUNY Cortland graduate by the name of Evan Rothstein. If you guys listen to this show, you guys know I'm a SUNY Cortland student. It's very rare that as a D3 school we have a representative in the NFL, but it's going to be pretty cool seeing a Cortland alum calling plays for the Lions. As much as I love Matt Stafford, the Buccaneers need to win this game, man. If not, that's another team that I think is going to reach new levels of concern. I'll take the Bucs just because of Tom Brady. These are the games he thrives in the most. Easy regular season games against easy teams to beat up on. I still don't trust Bruce Arians as a head coach. I don't think their strengths mesh very well. With that being said, Bucs talent advantage takes over. Give me Tampa Bay.
Yeah, give me Tampa Bay as well because I think Drew Brees is going to dissect this defense, which doesn't have too many big names. And I think that their defense is going to shine against Matthew Stafford because they're going to make the Lions one-dimensional by stopping the run because I think the Lions are not going to have that much of a run game, and it's going to make them let their pass rushers tee up on Stafford. And I think it's just going to be a good, easy win by the Bucs, and it's a must-win. So there's a lot of urgency as well by this team. And the Lions aren't playing for anything right now, so that's another reason why.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on to the next game, Saturday at 4:30, the Amazon Prime game. Andrew, I don't know if you've heard about this, but if you want to watch this 49er-Cardinal game, the only way to do it is on Amazon Prime. The game is not on cable, which is going to be super interesting. A lot of fans are not going to be too happy about that. But, dude, let's make this pick segment interesting. I'm going to take the 49ers to go into Arizona and beat the Cardinals. I watch Cliff Kingsbury and this offense each and every week, and Kyler Murray is a phenomenal player. There's no doubt about it. I think his future is super bright. But Cliff Kingsbury is a coach that has single-handedly cost the Cardinals a couple games this season. His clock management is horrible. The game against the Eagles on Sunday was a game Arizona could have easily lost, even though they significantly were the better team. And when you're going up against a coach like Kyle Shanahan, I don't trust Cliff Kingsbury to beat him twice. And the 49ers, I understand they haven't been playing great, but their offense did look good against Dallas. I think Robert Saleh and that defense will come ready to play. Give me the upset. I'm taking San Francisco over Arizona.
Well, I think that I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one, Zach, because I just think that the Cardinals are just playing for their playoff lives, and they're a very desperate team. And Kyler Murray, I think he's going to have a good game because the Niners lost a lot of big pieces. Another big thing I want to bring up is that the Niners are going to be without their starting quarterback. They're going to have C.J. Beathard start this game.
I don't think Nick Mullen is that good, though. Like, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think C.J. Beathard may be better. They both are, like, average at best, but...
Yeah, we'll see, because this is his first game coming in, and he just hasn't had, like, that much practice and game time in the NFL this season, so we'll see. But I think the Cardinals are going to have a good shot at winning this game. I'm going to take them.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on to the next game. This is going to be a very exciting game. Saturday Night Football, AFC wildcard picture, big implications here. The Miami Dolphins will be heading to Vegas to take on the Raiders, and it's crazy, man, because the Raiders, I don't know what happened. This is the second year in a row, excuse me, that they've really faltered in the regular season, especially towards the back end. And I'm going to take the Dolphins to win this game. I just trust Brian Flores more as a head coach than John Gruden. And Andrew, I got to be real with you, man. You may think this is a bold take, but I'm going to be honest. I think John Gruden, there's a possibility that we see him reach a Bill O'Brien bad level as a GM/head coach. This defense is not getting any better anytime soon, and they have instability at quarterback. Their weapons and offensive line is really good, but once again, very concerning for the second year in a row in the back end of the season. They're not winning games. I like Miami.
Yeah, I'm going to take Miami as well. I mean, I think when you look at the Raiders and the Dolphins, they're two teams heading in two opposite directions. They are both in the playoff picture, but I mean, I think you look at Derek Carr, he might not be on the team anymore. After this season, they might look for a quarterback in the draft. And John Gruden better hope that this quarterback is going to be a good one, because if they have to rebuild again and go through it with a not a good quarterback and a not good team in the future, then he's going to be criticized like a Bill O'Brien, like you talked about. I think the Dolphins are looking really good right now. I think Tua is going to have another shot against a defense where he can make some big plays, because the Raiders don't have that much of a great defense. And I think the run game is going to be good. And I think we're just going to see Tua continue to develop and, make some splash plays and get a win. I think it's going to be a tight game, but I have the Dolphins coming up.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to the next game in the AFC, the Cleveland Browns, a team we've spoken about a lot on this show. They'll be heading to MetLife Stadium on the road, taking on the New York Jets. And Andrew, I got to be honest with you, man. This is a letdown spot for the Jets. I'll take the Browns to win. I think the Jets are going to be too confident coming off their win on Sunday against the Los Angeles Rams. Don't let Adam Gase and Sam Darnold get too hot. But in all seriousness, the Browns are playing really well. They're a great football team. Hopefully their defense could really gain some confidence in this game and against a banged-up Steelers offense in Week 17. I'll take Cleveland, and I'm very curious to see what this team does going forward in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a game where the Jets just give up an insane amount of explosive plays, because I think the Browns' play-action game is just really deadly, and they have a really good scheme of deep crossers and that get open. And I think that the Browns are just going to run the ball. I think it's going to be a closer game than we think, because, you have Quinn Williams and Nathan Shepard. They're really good against the run, and I think that they could stop it and make the game close for a little bit. But I just think that the Browns are just going to be able to shut down Sam Darnold, and I think this game, like you just said, it's going to be a letdown by the Jets. Sam Darnold's just going to have his two picks, copyrighted picks that he has every game, and I think Jet fans are going to be brought back down to earth.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on to the next game. We'll stay in the state of New York. The New York Giants, a team that has struggled over the last 2 weeks. They've lost 2 games in a row. They'll be heading to Baltimore on the road to take on the Ravens. And I'm going to take the Ravens to win this game, but I do think that no matter who is at quarterback for the Giants, this game is going to be closer than people think. Joe Judge, I'm a fan of his, but he did not have a good game at all on Sunday Night Football against the Browns. That play call in the first quarter was abysmal. I don't know what exactly that was. And the Ravens are playing really good football, but as you said, with the Cardinals, the Giants are a team that are playing for their playoff lives. If the Giants lose this game, and if the Washington football team beats Carolina in the 4:30 window, the Washington football team officially will clinch the NFC East Championship. And it's going to be crazy to see what happens. I like the Ravens in this game, but I think it's going to be closer than people think.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be a close game, because the Giants have a very solid defense and a front seven that's really good, led by Leonard Williams. The ex-Jet that never proved right for us. But I think that it's going to be a closer game than you think. And yeah, if Cole McCoy, Daniel Jones, I think they're both viable options. And it's going to be a one-possession game. And I think the Ravens are just going to overpower with Lamar Jackson running all over this defense. A few times I feel like he's going to break through. So I have the Ravens as well. Close game, though.
Moving on to the next game, and I think this is going to be a very interesting game, even though neither of these two teams are anywhere close to the playoff race. That is the Bengals going on the road, taking on the Texans. And I want to say something about this game, man. I don't know if you saw the news, but apparently the Texans, who are a team that are obviously looking for a new head coach, they interviewed Marvin Lewis, the former Bengals head coach. And I got to be honest, if the Texans hire Marvin Lewis, that would be an Adam Gase level bad hire. This is a guy that has been out of the league for a couple of years. I understand he's currently the defensive coordinator at Arizona State, and he's done a good job there along with Herm Edwards. But at the same time, I don't know if you really... I don't know how you could consider him to be the best guy to progress Deshaun Watson with going forward. They need an offensive mind. They need an Eric Bieniemy. They need a Arthur Smith type. And the Bengals, even though they played well against the Steelers on Monday night, I can't see them going into Houston and winning. Deshaun Watson's going to have a crazy game. Give me the Texans.
Yeah, I think the Texans, especially because they don't even have a first-round pick that's going to be for them. So I think they're just going to lose that. They don't have any pressure to lose or wanting to lose, and they're going to be fighting for their pride and to just be able to get on the team and contract reasons. So I have the Texans winning. I think that Deshaun Watson is going to be able to pick apart this defense, and I think that the Bengals are just not going to move the ball against them. I mean, underperforming defense, but a defense that is led by J.J. Watt and has a few guys on the line. So, have the Texans as well.
Moving on to the next game, this is going to be a game that we are obviously going to be tracking on Sunday. That is the Chicago Bears going on the road against the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's a team that right now, if the draft would be today, they're going to have the number 1 overall pick. But Andrew, I sent you this quote earlier in the week that Miles Jack, linebacker of the Jaguars, he's like, we're fighting for our lives. We're fighting to put food on the table for our families. And the Jaguars are going to come out and play hard in this game. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, Mitchell Trubisky has played probably his best stretch of football over a 2-week span in his career over the last couple weeks. He balled out against the Texans, balled out against the Vikings, and it's not like the Jaguars' defense is any good. I think the Bears win this game, and I do think that right now, you ask me, who is that 7th seed in the NFC, Chicago or Arizona? I'm actually going to take the Bears, and I think Khalil Mack and the defense come to play.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately I have to agree with you because I don't want the Bears to win. But I think the Bears are just like they're fighting for their playoff lives, like you talked about, and they're going to be versing a team that doesn't have much talent in the Jaguars. Gardner Minshew is a decent quarterback, and he can have a good game every once in a while, but
he's just not in a position to succeed. Yeah. And I understand the Jaguars have some weapons with Robinson, with Chark, but against this Bears defense, as you said, when they're fighting for their playoff lives.
Yeah, I think that this defense is just going to be able to really force a lot of 3-and-outs. So I have the Bears winning, and we'll see a little more of Mitchell Trubisky. Let's hope he does pull Trubisky though.
Okay, dude, this is an interesting game I want to talk about with you next, and it's crazy because we've spoken a lot of good stuff on this podcast so far, but there is one team that we haven't really spoken much about yet, and I'm not really sure how. That is the defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, and they will be at home on Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. And I'm going to ask you, dude, this has been a conversation that's been coming up on a lot of football podcasts, anyone who knows the NFL. Do you think the Chiefs are just unbeatable? Do you think the fact that they could just put up 35 points in their sleep makes them unbeatable? I don't think anyone's going to deny that they're the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl, but I think that they haven't really played their A-plus game yet, and the opponents they've faced as of late haven't necessarily taken advantage of the opportunities that they've gotten. So I think we all assume they're going to beat the Falcons at home on Sunday, but what is your vision and expectations for the Chiefs going forward?
Well, I think that they have an extremely high-powered offense that no one else can compete with consistently. So I see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and I have them winning it, to be honest, because I think that they also have a very underrated defense, and I have them winning this game against the Falcons. I think Tyrann Mathieu and Chris Jones are just two corner pieces that really make the whole defense really so much better. And they have a few key underrated pieces, and I have the Chiefs really making a deep playoff run, and I have them winning it all. But and I think it's going to be a blowout game, but it's going to be a high scoring game.
Yeah. So I know you're a Matt Ryan guy, being a BC guy. When you look at this Falcons team, what do you think their future holds? I think the more and more I look at this situation, Raheem Morris has done an okay job since he's taken over as the interim coach. They play hard for him. But at the same time, dude, I think in order to succeed in this league, I think the Falcons may need to move on from Matt Ryan. I think the Falcons may need to move on from Julio Jones while their stock is somewhat high that they could get, some pieces back for both those guys. And I would look in rebuilding this franchise, man. Their defense is not good. Their defense isn't really able to make plays. And they've been competitive in some games over the last couple of weeks. They played really well in the first half against Tampa Bay. Obviously, they weren't able to hold it. I just don't really know what direction this team is going in.
Yeah, I think the direction that they need to take is to have to unfortunately get rid of Matt Ryan and as well as Julio Jones. So I think trading those guys will give you a little more, better players that you can have, which is important for a rebuild. And I think I see them drafting a quarterback this draft and, starting over and starting the clock over. And they have a really key piece in Calvin Ridley who is really dominant some days, and some days he can be a top 5 receiver in the game. So I think it's time to rebuild for the Falcons, and they have a lot of holes they need to fix.
Moving on to the next game, the final 1 o'clock game on the slate. We've spoken a lot about this game already on the show. That will be the Indianapolis Colts, currently a wild card team in the AFC South. They will be heading on the road to Heinz Field to Pittsburgh, taking on the Steelers. I'm going to take the Colts, man. I just don't know how right now you could say the Colts are a better team, are a worse team than Pittsburgh. It's hard to have confidence in the Steelers' offense right now going against a Colt defense. Philip Rivers knows how to beat Ben Roethlisberger. He's gone into Heinz Field before and won. And when you look at the rest of this Colts offense, I really like their ability to run the ball. I really like the way their offensive line has been playing. I think that's going to be a phenomenal matchup, seeing the Colts offensive line go up against TJ Watt and Cam Hayward and those guys. And if the Steelers have any shot to win this game, man, their offensive line just needs to play better than they did against the Bengals, and I'm not sure that's possible.
Yeah, I think that I think the Colts are going to win this game as well. I think they have a very talented, very talented offensive line and a very strong defensive line, and their defense can really smother the Steelers receivers. They have a very good scheme playing cover 2 press man and just sending 4 guys and getting a good amount of pressure, and I think that that's going to be what the Steelers are the worst at, is getting tightly covered guys. And I think that their offensive line is going to be exposed again this week, as we talked about before. And I have the Colts winning, but it's going to be a really close game. And it's just, I see the Steelers just dropping more and more.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to the next game, the 4:05 window. This is a game between two teams that really don't have many playoff aspirations. That will be the Denver Broncos going on the road to LA to take on the Chargers. My only takeaway for this game is that I think both coaches of each team will be gone next season, especially the Chargers and Anthony Lynn. He has no idea what he's doing. He takes over the special teams. That's his specialty. It gets worse. And Vic Fangio, great defensive coordinator, just not really an NFL head coach. I'll take the Chargers because of Justin Herbert, but I have no interest in this game, not going to lie.
Yeah, same here. I think I'm going to take the Chargers as well because I think Justin Herbert's a better quarterback in this game. And I think Anthony Lynn's going to hopefully not make another boneheaded mistake. But I think that the Broncos' Drew Luck is really not that good of a quarterback, and he's just going to not be able to play up to Herbert's level this game.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to the next 4 o'clock game, this is going to be a very interesting one. A team that you bought stock in, the Washington football team. They will be at home against the Carolina Panthers, and I think it would be really cool if Ron Rivera could get a win against his former team, the Carolina Panthers, and I think they will, man. I think this is one of the best stories in the NFL this year. If Washington actually wins their next 2 games, they will finish 8-8, which isn't ideal for a division winner, but it's not bad. We've seen worse teams win divisions with worse records. I love the way this defense is playing. Teddy Bridgewater and the Panthers played better than I expected against Green Bay. They actually could have won that game, but I do think that was just based on the Packers sleepwalking. I will take Washington in this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna take. I'm actually gonna go the other way. I'm gonna actually take. I'm gonna take the Panthers in this game because I think that Alex Smith not playing actually takes a really big hit on the game on this team. And Dwayne Haskins is going through some.
He has Johnny Manziel written all over him, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a really tough thing that we're watching right now, especially with him going the club right now. I think.
Dude, it's crazy, man, because you would have loved to see him as a first-round pick. That, let's face facts, the whole league is down on him. You would have loved to see him just go out there and just give them somewhat of a spark against Seattle, and the fact that he goes to the club and he's the whole COVID, everything that's been going on, man, it's a disgrace, man. I'm super disappointed in him.
Yeah, and he got his, the captain, label taken away as well. So, yeah, I mean, I just see the Panthers with Joe Brady. They have a really good game plan with Matt Rule, and I think that Teddy Bridgewater is a really good quarterback, and he can win in these close games. So I have the Panthers by a very small margin.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to the next 4 o'clock game, this is going to be probably the game I'm looking forward to the most this week. The Los Angeles Rams, fresh off their loss to the New York Jets. They will be on the road in Seattle taking on the Hawks. I'm going to take the Seahawks, man. These two teams met a couple weeks ago, and that was really the first game when Seattle's defense really started to play much better. Jamal Adams is healthy. Carlos Dunlap is back. Jared Goff against a team that could generate pressure without Andrew Whitworth. I love Sean McVay as a coach, man. He's phenomenal. I love everything about him, but I just cannot see the Rams going on the road in Seattle winning, especially with the way Seattle's defense is playing. You would like to see Russell play a little bit better, maybe get Metcalf a little bit more involved. I also think Seattle, the fact that their running backs are healthy is super, super important. Chris Carson, Carlos Hyde, and now Rashad Penny, the former first-round pick, they're all healthy. That was one of the main reasons why they were able to go into Washington and win. I think Seattle's running game is a difference here. Give me Seattle.
Yeah, I'm going to take Seattle as well. I mean, their defense has just been playing at a really high level, led by Jamal Adams and Bobby Wagner. And I think the Rams, just last game, it really was a big moral loss, and I don't think they're going to forget about that loss to the Jets. And I think that they're just going to continue to, have a sluggish start on offense. And I don't see their offense putting up that many points against Seattle. And I see, if Sam Darnold can light up the Rams, I see the same thing with Russell Wilson. So I'm going to take the Seahawks as well, Zach.
Moving on to the last 4:30 game we'll be going over. This is a good one. The Philadelphia Eagles, they will be going on the road to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. And, dude, I'll say this. I'm actually going to give both of these teams credit. They've been playing much better as of late, especially on the offensive side of the ball. This Carson Wentz situation is crazy, man. I don't know what happened. I was obviously a big fan of his going into the season, and I don't think his career is over. I do think a change of scenery could really help him. But at the same time, there's no denying that Jalen Hurts has actually played really well over the last 2 weeks, and Philadelphia's offense looks super dynamic. Doug Peterson looks like a significantly better play caller when Jalen Hurts is at quarterback. But at the same time, Andy Dalton has been doing the same thing for Dallas. That offense has looked much improved. They were able to really score against San Francisco. With that being said, though, I'm actually going to take the Eagles. This is going to be the second time these two teams have played. Philly won the first matchup. I think Hurts playing in that stadium where he has plenty of experience playing in. And I think the Eagles' offense is super dynamic with Hurts, with Miles Sanders, with Zach Ertz. He finally looked to get going last week. I don't trust this Cowboys defense whatsoever. Still, I will take the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Eagles as well because I think Hurts has been playing at a really good level, and he's been exceeding expectations. I think he's been able to make the Eagles the QB position for them a dual threat because he can run the ball and can also pass. And I think he just provided a spark for this Eagles team that was been reeling the last at the beginning of the season with Wentz. And this new spark is just they're gonna ride the momentum wave. And I think the Cowboys, especially the run game, I think they're gonna get run all over because they just couldn't stop the run this entire season. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Eagles as well.
Okay, moving on to the Sunday night game. This is Sunday Night Football. The Tennessee Titans will be heading into Lambeau Field, taking on the Green Bay Packers. And, dude, give me the upset. I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans to go on the road to Green Bay and win. And I totally understand. There is a chance that Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams just go absolutely bonkers in this game, and Adams ends up with like 200 yards and 2 touchdowns on 15 catches. Like, that is totally possible. The Titans' third down defense is horrendous. But I do think Mike Vrabel, in this situation, has something cooked up here. I think Derrick Henry could just absolutely roast the Packers' run defense. We know that is a very vulnerable unit of their team. We've seen them get run over in many games this season. They didn't look very encouraging against Carolina. I think if you punch them in the mouth, they could crumble. I like the Titans to go on the road and get the victory.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Titans as well, actually, because I think they have the perfect formula to beat a team like the Packers. They can run the ball, and they do a great job of play action, which neutralizes the edge rushers for the Packers. So I also see the Titans. I think the Titans have a solid defense that's a little underrated. You got like Jadeveon Clowney having a decent season, and they have some other big names. And I think that the Titans' offense is extremely powerful, and I think, this is one of the games where the Packers are just going to slip up because the Titans are the more desperate team. So, I think the more desperate team usually wins. So, I'm taking the Titans.
Interesting, man, because it's going to be interesting to see also with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, considering the fact that against Carolina last week, they didn't look all impressive. They played really well for the first 3 drives of the game, but unfortunately for the rest, they were not able to get the job done. Moving on to the last game, the Monday Night Football game, the Buffalo Bills will be going on the road to New England to take on the New England Patriots, and I'm going to take the Bills in this game, but it's always hard betting against a Bill Belichick-led defense. However, at the same time, no one on New England's offense really scares me. I don't know how much they're really going to be playing for. You got to take the Bills the way their offense is playing.
Yeah, same. I think this is going to be a blowout game because I think the Bills are waiting for a long time to just put a whooping on the Patriots, and I think this is going to be the game because, I don't think Cam Newton or Jarrett Stidham can put up much against the Bills' defense. It has a really good secondary and can easily neutralize the Patriots' weapons. So, the only chance the Pats have is if they can run the ball and, do consistently and make the good throws off the play action. But I have the Bills winning and just, Josh Allen just picking apart this defense.
Yeah, dude, it's going to be a great week of football. Andrew, I just wanted to say once again, thank you so much for joining me today on the Zach Kroll Sports Podcast. We'll definitely have you on as the playoff race continues.
Yeah, it's good to be back, man. Thanks.